We're in bed sleeping. Bandit readjusts because he wanted to sleep in his favorite spot, which is directly on top of my head. And as soon as he plopped down on my head, all the power went out. And you knew as soon as it went out, this isn't the one that's coming back right away. Sunrise was happening, and I figured, well, now's as good a time as any to siphon gas out of the tank. And of course, I got a mouthful of old gasoline and my covered in old gasoline when I did the siphon. The reason I'm telling you this story is because, you know, if you decide to do this as a living, that's something you got to plan for and you got to think about, and you have to have a backup plan. Welcome back, everybody. As you can see, I'm in a t-shirt and a pair of shorts. Weather's finally calmed down a little bit. We actually did have some fallout from the weather I got last Sunday, which we'll talk about here coming up. Also, I had a big return this week. Not any fault of my own. Got damaged in shipping. We'll talk about it because now it's going to lead to a very, very interesting side-by-side case study that with two different shipping companies that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But we've had a phenomenal week. It's been super busy. We had a lot of hurdles we had to deal with, a lot of stuff that, you know, we had no control over, and we just had to deal with it as it comes. So let's go ahead and jump into the numbers so we can get right into this week. This week was a phenomenal sales week with a 948 gross sales, which equaled out to be 507 net. That's an average gross per sale of $22.05, with an average net per sale of $11.52, which is a 53% net profit margin overall and an average net profit margin per sale of 48%. Top 10 sources by net return. Sunglasses, hands down without question, is the number one. I'm pretty sure half my sales this week were all sunglasses. Again, you don't make a lot of money off each individual sale, but the profit margin on sunglasses are phenomenal. Donated items are taken number two because we had one of our big ticket donated items. I don't know what's going on recently where all my big ticket items are selling, but I'm very happy and fortunate for it. And then, of course, we do have a whole slew of thrift stores closing out the rest of the spots, except for remotes are back on the board. We saw an uptick in remotes again. Glad to see those things start moving. Again, sunglasses and remotes are both in the pure profit, so everything I'm selling now is all pure profit. They've completely paid for themselves, but it's still nice to see those remotes start picking up and moving off the shelves again. This week I did actually go sourcing for the first time in 3 weeks. Currently, of the items I have listed, I spent $6.08 on that I've listed. I spent about $230 this week, and as I list the items, that total goes up for the week. Just how Flipwise works. Cost of goods sold this week was $82.95. I paid eBay a total of $141 in marketplace fees, and I paid shipping companies $214 in shipping labels this week. And I did it. April 1st, I downsized to listing only 8 items a day. And what is the results that we've seen? An increase in sales? Instead of doing 84, I've now downgraded to doing 64 listings. I did 64 listings this week because I did do 12 listings last Sunday and last Monday, and then on April 1st, switched to 8, which equaled out to be 64 for this week. And then sales are 43 sales this week, which is the most sales I've had in 1 week ever. The previous record was 42. We beat it by 1. And as you can see, once I switched to 8, it looks like sales were on an uptrend growth starting on Wednesday. Thursday dipped down a little bit, but still was a great sales day. Friday was a phenomenal sales day, and then yesterday was busy. Yesterday, last night, and this morning have been popping off on sales. I've already got an outgoing mail for tomorrow ready to go. It's been a phenomenal week. I'm very happy about it. It's just nice when, you know, you've been doing this for almost a year now, and it feels like it's taken off, and I'm starting to make money that's actually like not just surviving, but thriving. Jumping into the top 10, number 10 is this vintage Wrangler men's Western Pearl Snap button-up shirt. As you guys know, I love selling Pearl Snap shirts. Not only Wrangler, any brand of Pearl Snaps I'm a fan of. I picked this shirt up for $3.80. It sold on eBay for $26.35. That was $20 for the shirt, $6.35 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $4.62. That provided me a net return of $14.03, which is a 369% return on investment and a 53% net profit margin. Number 9, sale of the week. Glad to see sunglasses in the top 10 again. Are these new with tags: Foster's Grant, Iron Man, Iron Flex, IF 2003, gray mirrored lenses sunglasses. Picked these sunglasses up for $1.12 on eBay. They sold on eBay for $23.23, which was $17.58 for the sunglasses, $5.65 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $4.14. That provided me a net return of $14.26, which was a 1,273% return on investment and a 61% net profit margin. Number 8 sale of the week is this Wrangler men's Western Pearl Snap shirt. I picked this shirt up for $3.84 from a local Goodwill. It sold on eBay for $27 even, which was $20 for the shirt, $7 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $5.21, which provided me a net return of $14.30, which was a 372% return on investment and a 53% net profit margin. Number 7 sale of the week is this Under Armour mint green 2XL Performance Polo. I picked this shirt up for $4.09 from a St. Vincent's in Green Bay. It sold on eBay for $27.78, which was $20.68 for the shirt, $7.10 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $5.31, which provided me a net return of $14.58, which was a 356% return on investment and a 52% net profit margin. These Under Armour shirts did well for me last summer. I picked this one up at the end of last summer, beginning of fall. It took 8 months to sell, as you can see on the screen. And during the winter, once this hit over 30 days on my tiered weekend sales, this was on sale for 30% off. Now that we've gotten to spring, what I started on March 1st, I switched my tiered sales around, and I put golf polos and that into my smaller percentage off tiered sale. So they went from the highest discount, and then March 1st they were in the lowest discount, because I knew this is the season for them to start selling. And I've started selling these like crazy. I put this on the weekend sale where it sold for only 10% off. So make sure you know what the time, if you are going to ever do the tiered sales, make sure you have your tiers locked to the time of season and the items that normally sell for that season. Prior to March 1st, the light discounted items were jackets, pants, any winter items, stuff like that. Now I'm doing golf polos, hats, sporting good equipment now that spring and summer is here, to because I know those items are going to be selling. Number 6 sale of the week is this Lot of 9 VHS Walt Disney Movies 5 Black Diamond 4 Masterpiece Collection. Obviously, when I first started selling, I thought every VHS was worth a fortune. You learn really quickly afterwards that they're not. Not every Disney Black Diamond is worth $3,000, which I still don't understand how there's Black Diamond VHSs that sell to this day. I want to get one of the $3,000 ones, but I have no clue what makes it a $3,000 one. A friend of mine who's from Colorado, she came and visited her parents in Wisconsin at last fall, and we went to a local thrift store there, and they were liquidating their VHSs, so they were doing like a fill a paper grocery bag sale. So after I filled the bag and I did the pricing for all these, it was 79 cents for all 9 of the movies is what I ended up paying for that. That's what I picked them up for at the thrift store. They sold on eBay for $34.75, which was $15 for the VHSs and $19.75 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $13.20. That provided me a net return of $15.18, which was a 1,922% return on investment and a 44% net profit margin. Number 5 sale of the week, and you're going to notice another going on trend this week. Wrangler Rancher Men's Pearl Snap button-up shirt. I picked this shirt up for $2.59 at a St. Vincent de Paul's. It sold on eBay for $27.15. $20 for the shirt, $7.15 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $4.62. That provided me a net return of $16.18, which was a 625% return on investment and a 60% net profit margin. Number 4, sale of the week is this Hugo Boss sweater, men's extra large ivory. Picked the sweater up for $3.84 at a Salvation Army. It sold on eBay for $33.83. That was $24.98 for the sweater, $8.85 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $6.45. That provided me a net return of $18.88, which was a 492% return on investment and a 56% net profit margin. Number 3 sale of the week. I knew it wouldn't take me that long to sell. It sold in 29 days. It is this Disney Parks Women's XL Mickey Mouse quilted puffer jacket with Mickey ears. I picked this jacket up for $3.84 at a Salvation Army. It sold on eBay for $43.94. That was $33.98 for the jacket, $10 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $8.98, which provided me a net return of $25.44, which was a 663% return on investment and a 58% net profit margin. Number 2 sale of the week, and it was my last sale of the week. This sold like 20 minutes before midnight last night, is this Sony MV65 ST 6.5-inch screen portable DVD player with remote. I picked this up at a Goodwill for $3.02. It sold on eBay for $52.48. That was $42.48 for the DVD player, $10 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $9.05. That provided me a net return of $34.27, which was a 1,135% return on investment and a 65% net profit margin. And the number 1 sale of the week is this vintage Royal Rochester waffle iron, chrome with orange ceramic top. This item was donated to me in that big donation lot I got last July, the ending of last July, where a friend of my mom's called me up and just said, hey, come on over, take everything you want, it's yours. This waffle iron was in it. This waffle iron is obviously, I knew when I saw it, I was like, that's going to be worth some money. It did not have a power cord with it. I got home, and as I told you guys, every time I go thrifting, I always look at those like cord drawers or cord boxes that thrift stores have, and I always pick up random cords. And as you've seen on the show, some of those cords alone sell for good money. But when I got home and I looked in my box of cords, I actually had the power cord that fit this. Obviously, it's not the original one that came with it back when this was built, but it was one that was compliant with the electrical and everything. So I put the cord on, plugged it in, everything worked. I took a video of it working where I was holding a thermal. In the video, how I proved this was working, because it's just an old waffle iron. You plug it in and it gets hot. That's all it does. So what I did for the video was I had the waffle iron closed, and I had a temperature gun, and I'd lift up the waffle iron. I'd held the temperature gun off to the side where you could see it was like reading, air temperature, and then I pointed it right at the waffle iron, the top and bottom, to show like it was in the 450s. So proving that it worked. I did have this for 8 months. It's been listed. It's gotten a ton of views. Now, the thing about this Rochester waffle iron, these waffle irons, there's a lot of very similar waffle irons on eBay. However, it's the one that Rochester mass produced, which was the white top. So where you see the orange in this picture, the main one sold was a white dome top. The orange one, there was one listed for $400. And then when I did product research at the time, 8 months ago, 2 had sold in the last 3 years, 8 months ago. And one went for like 130 and the other one went for 150. So that kind of told me, okay, this guy who has it for 400 is just hoping somebody really wants an orange top. The white tops were selling for like $50, $60. So the orange was something I knew was worth a little bit more. I've had it listed for $104.98 for 8 months, and it finally sold. And it didn't even sell during a weekend tiered sale. It sold in the middle of the week for full asking price. I paid $0 for it, It sold on eBay for $119.98, $104.98 for the waffle iron, $15 for the shipping. Actual cost to ship this item was $12.12. That provided me a net return of $90.21, which is an infinite return on investment and a 75% net profit margin. And that concludes our top 10 sales of the week. A lot of great sales, as you can see in the top 10, big ticket items going, which is always phenomenal. It's been a good feeling the last couple weeks, seeing how like this is supposed to be the time of year where everything's supposed to start slowing down, and it seems like for me it's just getting started and ramping up. I did get over my mental block on listing 8 items a day, going down to it, and let me tell you, for my own sanity, it has been phenomenal. Only listing 8 items a day. This is like the perfect pace as far as like wanting to spend my time doing other projects and focusing on the eBay business as a total. 8 items is perfect with everything else I got going on in my life. A couple things happened throughout the week that I think are worthy of talking about in the business. So last Sunday, I got done taping the episode. I went inside. This is right after the ice storm, before we were going to get 14 inches of snow. We were supposed to get 14 inches of snow that last Sunday evening. I knew we were high risk for a power outage. We already were high risk with the ice storm, and I felt I got really lucky not losing power. So I was in editing the video to go live last Sunday. I got 95% of the way done editing. Like I was right there at the finish line, and power surged. It went out and it came right back on. And as soon as it did, I realized I never hit the save button. So I had to go through and re-edit all of last week's episode twice to get it up. And I now have my software settings to automatically save every 5 minutes when I'm working on a project. So if it does happen again, I've always been terrible at saving my work in progress on a computer. Anyway, so the power surged then, and I thought I was good, and then we go into the night where we get the snowstorm. Snow was supposed to stop at around 11. Snow was supposed to stop at around 11 or midnight. And about 12:30, we're in bed sleeping. Bandit readjusts because he wanted to sleep in his favorite spot, which is directly on top of my head. And as soon as he plopped down on my head, all the power went out. And you knew as soon as it went out, this isn't the one that's coming back right away. So in the middle of the night, I got up, I went, and I have 3 years ago, I installed into my main power a generator attachment with a lockout switch. It's all compliant, it's all legal. And I did all the wiring myself, and I bought a 1200 watt generator, gas propane generator for the whole house, whole property. And I go and I plug it all in, and then I go to start it up. And it doesn't start, and I realized I haven't done maintenance on it in December, early December. So I knew what the issue was right away. It was bad gas, and I was not in the mood at 1 o'clock in the morning to siphon gas out of it, old dirty gas out of the tank of the generator. Well, I also have two 2,000 watt generators that you can tether together and plug into the system, and it can pretty much power everything except for, the water well, the well pump. So I pulled those out instead because I didn't want to deal with the big generator problem. And the reason I wanted to use generators is because it was still below freezing, and I was worried about my water lines freezing over. And my water lines are heated with electricity. The home is heated with gas, so like without power, I'm still warm, and the dogs are warm, so don't worry about that. But yeah, as soon as I turned them on, I knew those generators were going to suffer all night because trying to power the water heating because it takes up a lot of juice. So then I couldn't sleep, and I was like, well, forget it. And I got up and I spent the rest of the night plowing in the dark, plowing all the snow that had just dropped. No power, and then when I got done, by the time I got done plowing, sunrise was happening, and I figured, well, now's as good a time as any to siphon gas out of the tank. And of course, I got a mouthful of old gasoline, and I covered in old gasoline when I did the siphon. But I emptied that tank on the big generator, put fresh gas in, plugged it into the system, and then once the big generator took over, I had enough power for everything. I opened the shop back up, turned the work computer back on, made sure if anything happened. And my internet, I have Starlink internet. I also have AT&T wireless, like cell phone internet, has a backup, but my primary internet is satellite. So as long as the router has power, I have internet. So I was fully operational. I did sell that stereo last week, so that had to go to FedEx. So I ran into town Monday morning, and the whole region was without power. And I reported mine the night before, and they told me it wasn't going to be fixed until Tuesday at 10 p.m. This is Monday morning. I go to FedEx. FedEx doesn't have power. They have a sign on the door that's locked. I didn't realize it until I walked up to the door with the package I'm carrying. And as I'm walking back to my car, like, oh man, what do I do if I don't get this shipped by today? The door opens up and he says, hey, are you an eBay seller? And I'm sitting there holding a giant box with eBay tape all over it. And I'm like, yeah, I am. He's like, did you pay for everything already? And I said, yep, it's all labeled. He's like, we'll take it. And I was like, I got 2 packages. So I gave him the 2. Then I went over to the post office. Post office without power. I was like, okay, well, there's another post office. I'll go to the second post office because I didn't want to wait in line at the first one. And I go to the second post office, which is the bigger regional one, and they don't have power either. They're sitting in the dark, and they have the hand scanners, the battery-powered hand scanners, and they said, we could take it, we'll scan it, we can't give you a receipt, and tracking information won't update until we get power back and we have an internet connection. And I understood, and FedEx was the same way, and I understood. So I went home, and thinking that power wasn't going to get restored for another, 36 hours, I messaged all the people I sold to from Saturday afternoon until Monday morning who purchased from me. I let them all know, hey, your products have been delivered, but there's a massive power outage in my region right now. FedEx or USPS is down. It's been turned into them. The tracking will update as soon as they get power back. And I got to say, every customer was absolutely phenomenal. They were super appreciative that I kept them informed. And then we actually got power. I personally got power back late Monday night. So it didn't go until Tuesday. The power company showed up at my front door and they're like, hey, we think we fixed your power, but we can't tell because you're on the generator. Can you try to switch over to main? And so I went in and switched from generator to main power, and power was back on. I don't know when they got it back in town. However, when I went in to check the tracking on all the ones that I sold, they finally updated late Monday night, and it was updated from the point that they scanned it with the hand scanner on Monday morning. So even though it got uploaded like Monday at 11 o'clock at night, it shows that it was dropped off there at 10 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning. The reason I'm telling you this story is because, if you decide to do this as a living, that's something you got to plan for and you got to think about, and you have to have a backup plan for everything. Thankfully, I was wise enough many years ago, before I even started doing reselling, that I installed a generator system to feed directly into my main power, to where in this scenario, I wasn't worried about it. And the whole time, I wasn't without power. Either running the 2 generators or the big generator, I had power and could have shipped. I had access to everything, paid for all the shipping, labels, and everything, and was able to package everything and ship everything out on time. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and it's really sad, the big stereo I sold last week, which is the #1 sale of the week last week, like $360 sale. It had to ship it in 2 packages. One box made it there perfect. The box of the speakers, perfect. The second box, it looks like they played baseball with it. It was dented in, it was dropped, which held the main part of the stereo. The guy messaged me. He said, hey, I know this isn't your fault, but the stereo is completely destroyed. And he sent me pictures of the box and everything. And he was really nice. He sent me a bunch of pictures. And I took pictures of the serial number, and I had them of that. And when he sent me his pictures, I could see the serial number was the stereo I sent him. And I'm like, oh man. And he just got it delivered. He literally sent me the message 20 minutes after it was delivered to his house. So I knew this wasn't a scam. And I was like, and he was being real cool. He's just like, I know it's not your fault. What do we do here? And I did not want to do a full return. Like, I didn't want to do a return. I had no problem refunding him for the damaged stereo, but I didn't want to have to pay the return shipping, because it's $100 shipping just to send a broken stereo back to me. So he was going to keep it regardless. And I'm like, how do you want to resolve this? He's like, I don't like doing partial refunds, but he's like, can we do a partial refund? And I was like, yes, of course we can. What do you think is fair? And he's like, I don't know, throw a number out at me. And I'm like, oh man, let's not play this game. Just tell me what you want, and we can go from there. So I said, all right, does $80 refund sound fair? And he's like, oh, 80 doesn't even cover cost I paid for shipping, which was a true statement. And I'm like, you're right. How about 100? Is 100 fair? And he goes, I think 150 is fair. And I'm like, cool. And it wasn't that I was trying to get away as cheaply as possible. Don't get me wrong. That would have been awesome. But I am trying to do right by him. And I don't know what he finds is fair. Like, just give me the number and we can go from there. And he said 150. I refunded him 150. I said, done. I said, I'm really sorry about this scenario. And I immediately went to FedEx because since he sent me all the pictures and everything, and I filed the claim there. So now I have a current claim open with USPS for the autograph, the Space Ghost autograph, and I have a claim open at FedEx. I opened the claim back on March 17th for that Space Ghost autograph, and there has been no update change to it. And on the website, it says you should get a resolution in 5 to 10 business days from filing a claim. And I'm on day 20. So I called USPS before the FedEx claim. I called them, and I got an hour and a half on hold, getting the runaround, everything else, and I got a human being. And I told her, hey, I filed the claim this date. This is the number for it. Yada yada, all the information. I was like, can you tell me if there's going to be any updates on this? And she goes, no, that's not my area. That's not my area of what I know. I said, I thought you said this was the claims department. She goes, oh no, it is the claims department. And I'm like, so how is this not your area to give me an updated status on my claim? I don't understand. And it was really confusing. And then she's like, well, we have until 60 days to give you a response. And I'm like, but on your website, it says you'll have a resolution within 5 to 10 days. She's like, yeah, we know it says that, but that's not true. The actual truth is 60 days. I don't know why the website says that. And I'm like, okay. So that day, then I opened up the claim with FedEx. FedEx has sent me 2 emails letting me know where they're at in the process. They said I should have a resolution at 10 days, at the 10-day mark from filing. So I want to track this and just see how these claims go. Am I going to have to wait the full 60 days for USPS or to update and do anything with my claim? And then I want to see how good FedEx does on the claim. I'm getting tired of eating every single loss. And the majority of my returns have either been, once they got it, they didn't like the color of the shirt or they didn't like the size of the sunglasses. And there was nothing wrong with them. The product wasn't damaged, so I had no problem paying for the return and then just relisting the item. But for the items that show up damaged, and it's not due to my packing skills, it's due to the box was literally like ran over with a car. There's nothing I can do to plan for that. There's no amount of padding, no amount of bubble wrap, no amount of styrofoam I can put in to get away from it being hit by a truck or played soccer with. It just can't happen. And I got tired of it, so I decided that from here on out, I'm not going to mess around with it. Anytime a customer tells me they have something damaged, I immediately am going to ask them for multiple pictures of the product and the packaging it was shipped in, the state of the packaging it was shipped in, and I'm just going to give them a full refund, and then I'll fight it out with the shippers to do a claim process. That way, it's good customer service for the customer. I'm the one out the money for the beginning part, and hopefully at the end of all the claim filing process, I'll be made whole, or at least get compensated for something, because this stereo, normally I would have been like, yep, ship it back to me and I'll resell it, but obviously the stereo was destroyed. I could see in the pictures it was destroyed, and I'm not going to pay $100 to have a broken stereo sent back to me. So let him keep it. He gets to keep the speakers, so he still has working speakers. And he now has, if he buys another unit, he can use parts off this unit to fix the new unit or a future stereo that he has. He's happy. I'm happy. Well, I'm not happy until the claim filing process is wrong, but I'm just getting really tired of everything I have control over, doing the best I can. And then the parts of this business I don't have control over, shipping, just don't care. And especially when it comes to high dollar items. Like, it feels like every single time a damaged item happens, it's on something that's worth more than $40. And for me, that's a big deal. So we'll see how that plays out. I'll keep you guys updated on those claims as they resolve. Everything else this week has just been with the power outage on Monday. Monday is normally my college day. It's what I dedicate to doing schoolwork. Everything's just been backed up and busy. Did go sourcing on Wednesday. Got a lot of good items in, and I can tell you that downsizing from listing 12 a day to 8 a day has really, really freed up a lot of time for me to accomplish other tasks, and it's really nice. I look forward to listing again. It was getting there to the point where like I begrudgingly hated listing, doing 12 a day, and then now it's like I'm at the point where I enjoy doing it again, and it's like I can knock this out really quick. 2 shirts, 2 remotes, 2 sunglasses, 2 hard goods. Boom. Send it into the ether. And sales have been on an uptick. And it's been a nice mix. Also, I do think once I got that return for the stereo, once that return was open and we settled on a partial refund, as soon as I resolved it with the partial refund in eBay, and eBay saw like, he didn't fight this, like I'm trying to think about how the algorithm works. Like he didn't fight this, he did it. That's when my sales really started climbing, was on Wednesday after I refunded it. And there's a piece of me that thinks the algorithm sees you do something like that and sees you take that big financial hit and says, okay, let's strap a rocket on this kid's account and get his products so he can make up that lost revenue some way. I truly believe that as long as like you're doing everything right, I think the algorithm does that, because that's the only explanation why the second half of my week just skyrocketed out of control. Yesterday, I spent all day in the shop packaging something up, ready to go, and then mail came at around 12:30, 1 o'clock yesterday, and my phone kept blinging, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to save everything until tomorrow morning because I've been selling too much stuff, and I'll just package everything early on Sunday morning now that there's no rush. Because I like getting stuff in the mail on Saturday and getting it out to people to where it's out of my hands, and then they get the update on their tracking, and it makes them feel better. So, yeah, that's pretty much everything going on with me. Now that summer's here and the weather's getting nicer, I'm planning some more sourcing trips. My brother's going to be taking the summer off from his job, and we're probably going to be doing a lot of sourcing trips together. So hopefully we'll put a lot of miles on, find a lot of good things, which will provide content to this channel and you watching. And thank you guys so much for being here. I truly do. Oh, nope. Hang on. Time out. And of course, being the first episode of the month, we talk about our YouTube earning numbers. And for the month of March, we made $38.81. Looks like the video from the 16th of March was our best seller. It made $3.13 on the first day, $4.47 on the second day, $2.56 on the third day, and then trailed off from there. As you guys can see, whenever I put a video out, there's a spike. Some videos spike way better than others, and I'm okay with it. I'm just thankful that this is something that happens to me. So if you were ever thinking about creating a YouTube channel, you can see, if you were a channel of my size, what the numbers are. And I don't make this extra $38.81 a month without you guys at home watching this video. And I truly appreciate it and thank you. And I want you to know that this $38.81, all the money I make from YouTube goes towards feeding Boots and Bandit. So Boots and Bandit, thank you too. Ain't that right, bud? Ain't that right? Yeah, all right. He said, yeah, that's right. All right, that's all I got for you guys this week. Thank you so much for joining. If you enjoyed the content, please subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps me out in the algorithm. I hope all of you had a great week. I hope all of you have a great week to come. And remember, no matter what happens, I will see you guys next Sunday.